Welcome back to the Tempestorm Meta Snapshot Breakdown for April 1st, 2019. In the last 24 hours, many interesting events have occurred on ladder, causing a huge shift in the metagame. With many of the pro players having a lot of free time on their hands, they've begun to test new and fun decks. A few powerful lists have been brewed as a result. Forget the meta as you knew it. These decks completely outclass anything we've ever seen before, and have completely shaken up Hearthstone as we know it. Despite it being early in the new meta, we want to take a look at some of the best performing decks being played so far in the standard format. Before we begin, make sure you're subscribed to the channel in order to keep up with our Hearthstone content. Now, let's get started and jump right into Tier 1. As the top of Tier 1, we have Gurubashi Chicken Priest. This deck has been able to take advantage of the strongest card in Rasakan's Rumble, Gurubashi Chicken. The sheer might of this incredible card is so grand that most players simply concede when you play it on turn 1. On the off chance that the opponent doesn't immediately give up, this deck has other powerful cards to keep your opponent out of the game, such as Angry Chicken. For these reasons, the Chicken Priest has a lot of favorable matchups. Its best matchups are against Whizbang decks, as the majority of them simply can't keep up with the priest's ability to summon chickens. Its only unfavorable matchup is against Egg Warlock, which currently only sees fringe play in this new meta. This proves once and for all that the chicken does in fact come after the egg. The other deck to appear in Tier 1 in this snapshot is Dino Hunter. Dino Hunter has been a prominent ladder deck for the past year now, and this is the first time that it wasn't the most powerful ladder deck. Chicken Priest seemingly came out of nowhere and dethroned our Dino Overlords. Aside from Chicken Priest, this deck simply has no unfavorables, and leaves the dinosaurs to rampage throughout the ladder. Dino Hunter is an extremely powerful deck, and despite the constant meta changes, just like life, it finds a way. As with every meta snapshot, we like to highlight the new decks that have begun to show up on ladder. In a surprising turn of events, Hunter is once again playable outside of Dino Hunter. A new archetype that players are referring to as Midrange Hunter has begun to show up on the ladder. Players are rejoicing to see that a new form of Hunter is now playable, and are excited to see if it climbs up the tier list in the coming weeks. The deck makes use of a niche unheard of card, a card players refer to as too weak and considered the worst Death Knight released in the Knights of the Frozen Throne. While the card is okay, clearing the board in practically infinite value is simply not enough for 6 mana. In the form of Midrange Hunter though, the deck manages to fit together and abuse the current top decks such as Chicken Priest, and some of the Tier 2 decks. While strong, it's unlikely that we see this deck surpass Tier 4, due to the limitations that come with Hunter's weak hero power. Blizzard was as surprised as we were to see Deathstalker Rexar become playable, and in turn have decided to add it to the classic set, ensuring us that Midrange Hunter could be played forever. With Tier 1 being dominated by the 2 most powerful decks in the meta, Tier 2 is populated by more niche strategies. That being said, the top 3 decks of Tier 2 still have the potential to win, even when in unfavorable matchups. At the top of Tier 2 is the wonderful Whizbang deck. In a recent patch, Blizzard has changed Whizbang the Wonderful to give decks that are actually viable on ladder. Whizbang now offers its users several new, fascinating decks to play, including Murloc Druid, Odd Warlock, Tempo Priest, Secret Warrior, Big Spell Shaman, and Millhouse Manstorm Mage. All of these decks have been seeing significant levels of success, so if you want to try them all, Whizbang is your guy. The second deck in Tier 2 is the previously mentioned Egg Warlock. Egg Warlock is the only deck in the meta that can beat Chicken Priest, making it an extremely viable ladder choice. Egglock is a deck that makes use of all the current egg cards in Standard, in combination with Warlock board synergistic cards. Watch as opponents scramble to clear your board as you consistently buff your minions out of range of their removal spells. It's not an overly easy deck to pilot, but once mastered, the rewards can be exquisite. The deck does struggle with Dino Hunter, as large monsters are simply too much for eggs to handle. The final deck we'll be showing off in Tier 2 in this meta snapshot is Quest Rogue. In the most recent patch, Blizzard decided that Quest Rogue was not seeing enough play, and felt that it should be balanced to have a similar power level to other quests. In order to keep the game fun and interactive, Blizzard reverted Quest Rogue to its original state of needing only to play 4 copies of the same minion to receive 5/5s. With this change, Quest Rogue is once again very powerful, but still struggles to compete with the top decks of the tier list. With all the recent changes to the meta, you might be wondering how to best counter all of the chickens, dinosaurs, whizbangs, and healing that is going on. While a lot of decks simply cannot contest the power level that the top decks have, there is one deck that does a decent job at holding its own in this meta: Odd Paladin. You're probably thinking to yourself, there's no way Odd Paladin could ever beat a competitive deck such as Chicken Priest. And you're right, Odd Paladin can't beat Chicken Priest, but it can beat most of the other top archetypes. While extremely difficult to pilot, Odd Paladin can be hugely rewarding if played properly. Every turn is as intricate as a Patron Warrior mirror, and is even more rewarding when played correctly. So be sure you play a copy of Gen Greymane in your Odd Paladin in order to ensure that its power level is kept up to par. If you're struggling on ladder currently, Odd Paladin with Gen Greymane just might be the deck for you. In conclusion, while the meta has changed drastically, Hearthstone ultimately remains the same. Make sure to get to testing these new archetypes, and let us know in the comments which one has held the most success for you. Thank you for watching our latest Tempest Storm Meta Snapshot breakdown. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe for more high quality Hearthstone content. Happy April 1st, and see you next time.